this right out of the gate. Dave, I texted you this morning when I saw it. Darrell Henderson Jr. released. A lot of people are confused.
Well, a lot of people are curious, that's for sure, too, as my phone kind of blew up as well when the news came out just before 7 o'clock this morning. End of the day, he's a 28-year-old running back, has been out of the game a couple of years, and when you break it down, yeah, he was having a terrific camp, but he's got a lot of miles on the body, and, you know, was it going to last or not? Maybe have been a bit of a question mark. You've got a guy like Mario Anderson Jr., who you like on your roster already, and you won't have to pay nearly as much as Darrell Henderson Jr., so there might have been some salary cap implications as well. And at the end of the day, Thomas Bertrand-Houdon was back, was healthy enough to participate, so that's a big factor too. So there's a lot of things that I think weighed in on the decision. It wasn't going to be an easy one for the coaches to make, but again, from my understanding, those were just some of the factors that went into the decision that was made.
Jordan McLeod, should we be surprised on that one?
Yes and no. The yes part is that he is a very mobile quarterback, had that cannon of an arm. He showed it off in camp. I thought he performed tremendously well in the rookie camp. That would be the yes part, just because there's a lot of upside and he's a very mobile athlete, right? The downside is we kind of heard Darian Durant and Luke Mullender talk about a little bit the fact that if Trevor Harris is this quarterback and Jack Cohn is on that same parallel, and even if you want to go ahead and say the same for Braden Shager, they're all on that quick release parallel. Again, they stand in the pocket, they're pocket passers. It makes sense that you would keep them all along. I thought that McLeod might get a look in the preseason, but again, it's roster crunch numbers. The CFL mandates at this time that you get down to a certain number. Everyone has to abide by it. And if you weren't sure that you were going to give them a long look in a preseason game, instead maybe going with Shager and Cohn getting the bulk of some reps, I think it makes sense that you made that move.
Kicker Michael Hughes. I feel he's a guy that he's been here, he's gone, he's come back, he's been. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like don't go too far away, Mike.
I think there's two factors involved. Number one, Michael Hughes is a tremendous person off the field. He is great to deal with, great to talk to, just an all-around good person, right? So you feel bad that he didn't make the team. Was he out-kicked a little bit by Jonathan Kim? I would have to say yes. So the two American kickers that were on the roster, they had the kickoff, they did the things, they both got booming legs, they both have accuracy, but Jonathan Kim handled it a little bit better. For example, today he basically nailed a 78-yard field goal. They put the ball down at the 52 of the opposite side of center. He hammers it through the upright, so you got a 58-yarder there, and it went all the way through the back of the end zone, straight as a dart. So 78-yard kick when your field goal posts are moving back potentially in a year, not a bad thing to have in your arsenal. The other side of that, though, is that global kicker Alex Hale reported. So Alex Hale is back, and again, the ratio is going to come into play. So if the one American outkick the other American, you keep the better of the two, and then you see if the global can outkick them both to help you with your ratio a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see how that factors in.
It probably doesn't happen very often at training camps, where one of the most intriguing battles and question marks that fans have is who's going to be the kicker this year. Who like front runner? Do we have a front runner yet? Is it too early to call?
Jonathan Kim, for sure. Again, when you're cranking the ball like that, handling the wind as well as he did, again, it's going to be a very, very critical position, because with the new rules and the way that they're changing and the way the field dimensions are going to change, it's going to have to, how many times like a game could come down to a kick, and if you don't have that on your side and aren't comfortable and confident in it, you got to make sure. And right now, I think that the team is comfortable and confident with Jonathan Kim.
I'm really curious, like Harry and I were, I don't know if you heard this before we threw to break, the weather the next 3 days takes a Sasky turn here. Like to where the wind, like I don't even know if they're going to be able to practice. They cut practice short today, is that correct?
Yeah, practice was cut down today. About half is what they did. Again, this group is so dialed in and focused that they are getting through things quick as far as the drills and the reps are concerned, and they're executing them at an extremely high level. They had a very intense workout with pads. It's 26 degrees today at midday here in Saskatoon. So I think a bunch of factors came in, and that's what Coach Mace kind of told me. He said, you know what, like we kind of had to dial it back a little bit because the guys are working so hard. Let's give them a chance for an extra lift. Let's give them a chance to make sure their body's right, because we're playing a preseason game in 5 days from now. We got to make sure that we're good and ready to go with that. So I think that was a little bit of a respite, if you will, for the team. But also, yeah, you know what? A monsoon is expected here tomorrow in Saskatoon with snow potentially on the weekend. But I'll tell you right now, what Coach Mace is, it's literally snow. But I'll tell you right now, Coach Mace is going to say, you know what? We want to be playing in this weather at the end of the year. We'll take it now too.
Malcolm Bell, signs, shows. What did you see from him at camp today, and what do you think they expect from him?
Oh, is he an athlete? Some kind of like something else. He was going up and getting balls. He wasn't getting a ton of reps, right? He arrived last night. So signs, arrives, gets the playbook. Here, take a look. He probably got through the Cliff Notes version very early this morning, but he's got athleticism. He's got jump. He's got confidence. Again, he is going to be a good one. How long he stays in the CFL, I don't know, but he raised some eyebrows. He was asked right off the hop, are you coming in competing for a job as a starter? And he said, yeah, I want to be a starter. And everybody was like, whoa. But he backed it off and said, I'm not just coming here to be a body on the bench. I want to compete. I want to play, and I want to win. So he impressed his coaching staff on the field. He impressed a lot of people off the field, and we'll see how quickly he gets acclimatized to the playbook.
What have you seen? Like, what's the difference? Obviously, they're coming in as a defending champion. What have you seen as an observer, how different camp is this go-round, coming off a title win, being the top dogs, than you've seen maybe in other years?
If I was to put it year over year, it's really hard to say because there's still the same precision and execution. But if you even go back and take a step back to 2024, the first time Corey Mace came in, and if you looked at his first 4 days of training camp compared to these first 4 days, you're going to see a much more dialed in team. You're going to see a much more disciplined team. And the fact nobody's jumping off sides, no procedures, no running away with the waggle. You're going to see guys that are competing each and every drill. You're going to see a lot more communication between coaches, between players, with making sure they get it right each and every time. And I know Luke said this the other day. He talked about how the fact that it's not like you're going day to day as an opportunity to improve. You're literally in camp going snap to snap, and there is that precision and that commitment to execution that is probably the most you can point to the most difference between 2024 and today. But again, it's still advanced to where they were last year at this time.
What's the mood with the coaches? Like it, because we had the coaches show on Mondays here, and last 2 years I got to interview quite a few of them. It's great guys, different, really different. But the mood at camp with the coaches must be, fun, keeping it light, but as well like business-like.
Oh, they definitely don't like each other. Like some of them don't talk to each other here. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Totally. This group is such a cohesive unit. And like I talked to Josh Bell the other day, right? The new defensive coordinator. And he's not taking over from Corey Mace. He's building with the unit that they have. And he's got contributions from all of his coaches. So that's amazing to see. The camaraderie, again, it is there, but it's camaraderie with accountability. And I think I probably use that word way too often, is accountable, but they are accountable to one another. If one group isn't performing, or if they're not getting the most out of the athletes, or if there's a miscommunication, they'll hold one another accountable. They'll discuss, they'll dissect. Again, from what I understand, meeting for hours before making releases yesterday, right? They're going to go ahead and they're going to make sure that they get the absolute best product on the field for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's their commitment at the end of the day, and it just so happens that they really like and work well with one another, which I think sets them apart, right? Sometimes you hear, for example, I go back to the Canada West days, and I won't mention the team, but there was a team where the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator never spoke to each other because they hated each other's guts. They just went head to head and tried to mess each up in practice day to day. That doesn't happen here. It's full. Everybody's all in for the right reasons.
I hate to put you on the spot, but then I kind of enjoy to put you on the spot at the same time. Is this a better football team this year? What you see is available for talent-wise, is this a better football team than it was last year?
At this point?
Or the potential
at this point,
to be a better football team?
The wrinkle in that right now is the familiarity. It isn't there right now with the defensive front seven, right? Because there's so much change in the linebacker and defensive line. If everybody stays healthy on the offensive side, no doubt. They were absolutely clicking today. Trevor Harris has been spectacular throughout this camp. I see big things for this offense. Again, the caveat being if they can stay healthy. And then defensively, they're going to be just as good, if not better. And I can see them taking another step forward, especially when they go ahead and they gel as a unit up front. And if they can find a way to get pressure on the quarterback like they were able to do last year with 4 guys, that means the world is their oyster.
This just in, Dave Thomas says the Riders are better this year than they were last year.
Write it. Put it out there. Just
book
bins.
it.
Yeah. Hey, Dave. Let's give you a break here, but I want you to throw to the story with Mason Nias. Obviously, Regina boy, great kid. He's out there. Tee that up for us as we throw to that.
Well, Mason has had a very busy few weeks, and we'll get into that here right away. But not only is he the offensive coordinator of the University of Saskatchewan Huskies, he did that same role at the East-West Bowl. And for those that may be unfamiliar with it, what it is it's essentially third-year university or U-Sport players that get an opportunity to go who will become draft eligible next year. So he was the OC for that team, and Team West was able to win it thanks to a missed field goal in the last play. So lots of dramatics, lots of flair, but lots of learning, too, when it comes to Mason Nias, and he'll explain it here. Pleased to be joined by Mason Nias, no stranger to football in Saskatchewan, whether it be in Regina through his excellent days at Riffle or the University of Saskatchewan Huskies, now the offensive coordinator for the program. First of all, let's talk about the last few weeks. It's been a whirlwind for you. You get a ring on your finger, and then you're out in Waterloo. Wow, you're a busy guy.
100%. Married a couple of weeks ago, off to spring camp, dog's breakfast, which was awesome. Off to Waterloo for a week for the East-West, and then now in camp with the Riders here for the next couple of weeks. So it's been a whirlwind. Hopefully my wife still loves me when I'm back because I'm busy with football, but it's been awesome. I'm really enjoying it.
Tell me about that East-West Bowl experience. You were the offensive coordinator. Head coach Scott Flory was the head coach. You come and find the victory in Waterloo, which doesn't happen in close games all the time. But tell me about that experience.
Man, it was awesome. It's always fun calling games. It's nice being familiar with the head coach Scott Flory, obviously here at the U of S. And it's great. You meet new players, other coaches from around the country. So it's really cool just connecting with other guys, picking other people's brains. And then obviously, we had a great team. Some future CFL draft picks out there. And yeah, it came down to the wire, missed field goal at the end of the game for a win for Team West, which was always the goal. So yeah, really enjoyable.
A lot of Saskatchewan football representation out in Waterloo. What is the talent level at now compared to even just a few years ago?
High. Even across U Sports, it's fantastic. And specifically in Saskatchewan, I mean, we had 5 guys out there: Dawson Lenny, Langer, Reese McCormick, Reese Cack, Daniel Kabongo. All great. I think there was 5 Regina guys, mostly defensive guys. So it's fantastic. I think one thing Saskatchewan football does very well is grassroots coaching. I mean, we have great minor football programs across the province that really feed into the high school programs, that feed into the university programs, and eventually pro. I mean, Daniel Weave, Nick Weave, tons of guys out here, Logan Furland, having great camps. So, I mean, it really speaks to the minor grassroots football we have in this province.
You mentioned the coaching, and you look at the number of Saskatchewan coaches that are here with you, whether it be in a full-time or guest capacity, that can only improve things, right?
Well, 100%. I mean, you just look around. Jeff Stusik, Mark Mueller, Donnelly. I mean, these are not only great coaches, but great people, right? So, I mean, it speaks to the volumes of where they come from. They've been coached by great coaches and legends in the province, and then they obviously grew up to be shaping, professional football in our province. And really, in our province, it trickles down from the Riders. We had this discussion the other day with Donnelly there. I'm like, U of S and U of R benefit greatly from how great the Saskatchewan Roughriders program really is. And it really trickles all the way down, not only knowledge-wise, but the Riders giving back to local community football. So it's been fantastic.
This is the second time you've been at a CFL camp as a guest coach. You were in Hamilton last year. What do you bring to the table when you're meeting in those rooms and out on the field?
More so what's given to me, I would say. Honestly, I'm just super blessed that these guys allow me to sit in, just listen around. Obviously, if they ask me any questions, I'm happy to give my opinion on stuff and what we do. But really, I'm just here to learn, and I'm just super fortunate that they give me the opportunity to learn and pick guys' brains. It's really cool.
as a coach, is it schematic things that you learn, or is it execution points like delivery of a football, for example?
Primarily schematics, but not only that, it's more so just coaches, how they operate meetings, how they go about their business, their prep, all those things. I mean, from Coach Mace specifically, just seeing how he operates in team meetings, I mean, that he is a leader of leaders. Like, he is has a firm presence, a guy, everyone relates to him, likes him a lot, but you know when he walks in the room that people lock in and listen. So that's super cool to see. Mueller, a bit different of his presence, right? Like, don't get me wrong, he's serious about a bit his business, but man, people love him. He's a funny guy. He's great to be around. So just seeing traits and how different people do different things and schematics is always a nice thing to learn from. So just trying to take as little bit or as many gold nuggets I can from here.
Tell me, what's it like? There's some of players you've coached like Daniel Weeb. There's players you've played with and are really close with you like Nick Weeb. You look at Nelson Lacombo, who you played with. What's it like now being their coach?
Kind of crazy. I try to stay out of their way mostly, but just saying hi and whatnot, it's funny. I mean, Nick Weeb was in my wedding party 2 weeks ago, so now seeing him, and I just don't want to get in his way while he's at his job, I should say. So yeah, it's really cool just saying it up to those guys and seeing them flourish on the professional level. It's fantastic.
So I guess final question, what do you hope to achieve from this experience?
Man, just trying to take as much knowledge as I can away from this. Obviously just meeting great people, fostering relationships, and then trying to be the very best coach I can be for the University of Saskatchewan come the fall.
Mason, appreciate your time as always. Congratulations on the nuptials and all the best here at camp.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
That's where Dave Thomas is. The Red Zone swears by the nachos, and I try to consider myself a gravy connoisseur. I took a picture of the lady's fries and gravy last night in PA, and she's like, "What?" I said, "Can I take a picture of that and send it to my wife?" And I'm like, "Should we get fries and gravy?" And I'm like, and I like to nitpick at nachos and figure, because some places have crappy nachos.
Important question. Were the fries crinkle cut at the rink, or were they just straight cut?
Crinkle cut. Didn't try them, though. Regretting it.
Gotta go. You gotta have it. Crinkle cut fries and gravy. Perfect.
Okay. David?
You went up to a complete stranger and said, "Hey, can I take a picture of your fries?" And then number two, the romantic that is Barney Shankaruk goes ahead and texts Mrs. Shank, "Hey, you want some fries?"
She knows. She knows. And the other thing that we always get everywhere, places like that, popcorn. We have to try the popcorn. So what did she text back? "I got popcorn." I'm like, "Oh, I see you sitting there, and I know you have popcorn." So we tried the popcorn. We didn't go to the fries and gravy. But yeah, no, I asked the lady, I'm like, "Hey, can I take a picture of those?" PA, everybody's friendly in PA.
I was going to say, I'd be a little bit curious if I was in Prince Albert asking to take pictures of people's food, but you do you.
I'll keep it going this summer when I go through. I'll stop on the main drag. Hey, Schultze brought up a good question, and I was like, well, I'll ask Dave. There's a couple on the Prairieland Rentals text line to get to as well. We want to know an update. What's Percy Lewis IV looking like?
Again, he's a big guy, and they kind of challenged him to drop a little bit of weight, which is a tough thing I would suspect to do in the middle of camp. No, apparently he's not getting your text, Barney. Sorry, but no, he looks very much acclimatized, much more comfortable with the playbook. And again, I was amazed at his foot speed, right? Like, again, when you got a big guy you scratch your head wondering what it's going to look like. But again, he's fitting in, and yeah, like he's making a case. He's making a case. He made this first round of cuts, and he made the rookie cuts. So he's just doing the right things.
Go ahead.
Do you see anything different happening offensively that's going to be a change from last year? Or is it going to pretty much be status quo? Like, it's kind of if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, I can't see. Can you see anybody breaking into this offense?
Absolutely. Daniel Weeb is one. There's a possibility for Deshaun Mims. I think that a big year is going to be had by Duncan Busby because the Canadian receiver spot, I think, is up in the air a little bit, as well as the American receiver spot. Keyshawn Johnson had been outstanding. Of course, he was nicked up at the end of last year, couldn't participate in the Grey Cup, and I'm sure that drove him throughout the course of the offseason. But the receiving core is going to look a little bit different. There will be different opportunities I would submit for different players. Additionally, just the way that they are doing things right now. And again, yeah, I get it. It's pretty vanilla. You're not going to, show everything on day 4 of camp, but you would not believe who took a handoff today. The most outstanding Canadian from not Marcus Hardrick. But no, Sam Emilus took a handoff today. It was just like baffling. I'm like, that was a handoff? And it was like, yeah. So again, that probably never
like split backs or out of the I formation, not like a sweep.
Kind of came settled in. The formation set up with the tight end on the left-hand side, and Emilus had lined up on the far side, and usually out of that formation you see him moving the waggle, and he moves all the way around in behind the quarterback. He kind of settled in and took the ball. Now, I don't know if he was messing around or not, which could possibly have happened, but I was like, wow, there's some wrinkles that are coming in, and now I'm probably getting in trouble for explaining that.
It was their first play in Calgary. It's off. Jeffrey's letting the Stamps know as we speak. But Daniel Wiebe, watched him like a bit with the Huskies, and remember, he was just an absolute stud, right? Holy Cross Crusader from Saskatoon. What do you get a feel, a little bit of a feel, Dave, of a Weston Dressler type player?
That's what he mentioned in his interview, right? That he wants to be in. What I've seen him do thus far, that I don't know that it's different in his game. It's maybe that he's being asked to do it more than he ever has. And that's be physical, be a part of the running game, right? How many times last year did you see the receiving corps set up blocks for AJ Ouellette or Thomas Bertrand-Houdon or whoever happened to be running the ball? It's a key component of Mark Mueller's offense. And it's not an ask, it's an expectation, and he has taken that on. Like the receivers have been physical as much as you can when you're not wearing pads. Like Del Duncan Busby delivered an absolute shot yesterday that was just, you heard it from the stands and it was like, wow. So Daniel Wiebe, I don't want to say that he's uncomfortable doing it. I just haven't seen him do it a lot or have to do it a lot, and he stepped right into that role. And again, that's the one thing that I think that, again, you can't coach size, right? You can't coach hard either. So those are probably the two factors that weigh in when you're talking Daniel Wiebe. The other one is Delon Dejete, of course, the draft pick that hasn't been able to get on the field much as he was nicked up prior to rookie camp. So he came in hurt. He's got catching up to do, but I know that the Riders are very intrigued to see what he can do and what he can bring. And there's definitely a spot and an opportunity should he be available and willing to take it.
Sticking on the what's Keyshawn Johnson? What's the status with him?
Looking good. I was curious sometimes, like when you've got a leg injury and it can sometimes linger, right? Depending on how you do. Like he pushed so hard to get back into the playoff lineup because it was such an awkward hit that he took late in the season on just a simple screen pass, right? And I saw him go down with that injury. It was right in front of us, and I thought, okay, he's hobbled. Maybe the Riders are just going to rest him now because they've rested basically everybody else in these last regular season games. But him not being able to get on the field and give it an opportunity to go was tough. And then you see him now, again, he's not laboring. He's not favoring. He just looks like Keyshawn Johnson with terrific hands. And when he has an opportunity, he's going to make a play.
I know it's early. Anything stand out as either a surprise, either on the good side or the bad side, that kind of made you stop and double take and be like, what did I just see? Other than Sam Emilus taking a handoff, that is.
Well, you know what? On the offensive line, Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson. Zach Fry got reps last year, right, and was given an opportunity. And I think the Riders are going to start a Canadian in that spot on the left side of the offensive line. Zach Fry, I thought, has performed very well and taken another step in his career. And sometimes, right, it takes guys a little longer to develop. He's a draft pick that the Riders have invested a lot in and are giving him a lot of opportunity. But Daniel Johnson, who started at left tackle for a couple of games last year and just had the absolute worst injury luck that you could go ahead and wish on anybody. So he has moved from tackle to guard and is taking some reps there. So I think that's surprising in a good way. And the fact that there is Canadian depth on the offensive line should the Riders need it. And let's face it, it was pointed out to me today by one of the fans in the stands, and I think his name was Jim. I hope I got that right, Jim. But he pointed out, hey, have you noticed that there haven't been any offensive lineman injuries in camp so far? And so I know that everybody around him kind of, ooh, but Yeah, it's true.
Can you get Mace number 4 here? I think this is an interesting talk. Maybe Dave, I'll let you you throw to it on Mace. They practice with the 35-second clock.
Yeah, so the 35-second clock is one of the new rules that is coming in this year. And essentially, when a play stops, when the rule it's over, boom, you're going to flip that clock and it goes 35 seconds. And it's to promote consistency between plays and maybe even speed up the game a little bit. I know some people get worried when you start talking about speeding up the games. And I've read the comments, I've got the emails about, well, why do you even need to speed up the game? Well, you know what? That's the attention span right now. And baseball didn't have to bring in a pitch clock. They did because they knew they needed to speed up their product and make that attention span so that something was happening all the time. That's what this is going to do. And at the U of S, I didn't even know the 20-second clocks would go up to 35. Who knew? But they do, and the Riders have been practicing with them throughout camp.
Yeah, we started the very first day of rookie camp. You know, it was, you know, you can sit down and you can look at it, you know, at the office, but, you know, you're not going to know till you know. So I think it's been good practice for us just to continue to get accustomed to some of these new rules coming in this year. And certainly that you know, that was an easy one for us. So we've just been operating all team periods with that.
You know, I am. That's one that I'm really interested to see the discrepancies, the variations from ref to ref, and how uniformed they can be from game to game. Because it's like, okay, well, you technically gave an extra 2-3 seconds here before we started, or that guy's like right on, you know, like a hardo. Maybe that's just me. I'm really curious to see. I still think there's the human element to it, right? Where there's going to be some time on either side, maybe?
You know, I think that's going to largely be eliminated because consistency is what they're striving for, from official to official, down to down, play to play, game to game, right? So I really think that's the striving point. And I know that there's been a lot of off-season work done with the officials, and not just the officials that are on the field, right? The scoreboard operators, the time clock operators, you got to understand when the clock is going to go, what the signal is going to look like. It's no longer the huge windmill that's going, right? So a lot of work has been done to make the game flow better. And again, when I say flow better, yes, it may speed it up by minutes, but it's not going to be like they're not going no huddle all game long because they got to sprint to the line for 35 seconds. But what it will do is minimize the stoppages, right? Like, oh, where do we put the ball? Or let's get together and talk on this, because right now they want to have communication and flow. Go ahead and navigate the path towards a more consistent and entertaining football game.
Have you seen them working on any other of the new rule implements? And have you heard like grumbling or just anecdotal talk about what it looks like to them and how they feel about it?
A little bit. There's been a little bit of talk about that 35-second clock. And again, I think it's a non-factor because the plays have gotten off with plenty of time. Like, there haven't been any time count violations that I can actually recall. The one that I think that might have an impact and be coachable, and I can't wait to kind of see this and how it plays out in Calgary, is the Rouge rule, right? So if kicker A decides that he's going to bomb one and sail it through the back of the end zone wide left, the ball's going out to the 40, right? So if there's any chance that ball that is kicked, whether it's a punt or whether it's a field goal, that it's going to go out of the end zone on its own, right? You don't get the point, and you automatically advance the ball to the 40. So are we going to be encouraging returns out of the end zone or discouraging returns? Because as soon as it's returnable, right, that a player has to make a play on it, then you can sacrifice the Rouge. Right. But I'm curious how that's going to coach out and how it's going to work and look moving forward. Because, again, if I'm the guy that sees that ball just rolling around and heading towards the end zone, hands up, I'm not touching it. Right. I'm getting out of the way, and we'll just take the ball to 40. No points. Thank you. So I'm curious what the coaching is going to look on that. And like with a guy like James Letcher Jr. and his speed, he's been terrific at camp too. And we should be talking more about him. But does he have the freedom to go ahead and say, scoop up that ball and go? Or, hey, if it doesn't work out, you're tackled, it's a point. Who cares?
Yes, that's the one thing I forgot. So there's still field goals missed. It kind of, let's hypothetically, like a Pro V1, it's got backspin. It sits there. Returner has to pick it up. either run it out or concede, you go get tackled.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. You've got a choice to make.
You look confused, Harry.
And from what I've heard,
I was going to say, curious to know what the percentage of balls that would stay off a missed field goal that would stay in the end zone would be if they weren't picked up by the receiver in past practices.
I think the longer ones, shorter ones, yeah.
Sure.
But anything longer, because the end zone's like 85 yards.
Yeah.
Well, the question is going to be, right, at what length do you want to go for the field goal, right? So, again, obviously, if it's longer, you're going to have the opportunity to have that decision made, but no longer are you even guaranteed a point, right? So if I'm sitting at a 47-yarder, right, and that was kind of the mean average for consistency in the CFL last year was 47, right? So 47 in was a much greater percentage of making the kick as opposed to 47 out. If I'm at the 47, do I consider going for it on third down? If I punt the ball and it goes into the end zone, they're getting it back at the 40 anyways. And if I try that long field goal, then what? If I make it, hey, gravy train, let's go. But if I don't make it, then you've got the opportunity for a return or no points at all.
Got to bring up gravy, don't you?
That's exactly where I was going. I was going to send you a picture, actually. I hear that's the thing to do.
Just go up to someone's
call that a
table and
callback.
go up to someone's table and take a picture of their food.
Sure, your wings look mighty fine. I try and take a picture of those.
I'm really interested. And I said it all week. And Harry, I know you weren't with us, but like the punting game, your punter is so key going forward in this league.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
I
to
completely
know
agree.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say I completely agree, and I'll get your thoughts too because they're probably way better than mine. But the Riders have been working on a lot of punt placement and stuff. They haven't done a ton of punting, but you're right. It is going to be extremely important, especially right if you kick it out of bounds, if it trickles into the end zone. It's a huge field position flip.
I'm just more curious from a long-term standpoint is if the league will get what they wanted out of the rule changes, and if they don't, how long are they going to give before they see the return to change it again? I'm just curious as to see what the end goal is, like what the long game, if you will.
Absolutely right. I completely agree with what you're saying, and what will be, you're right, what is going to be the tipping point on whether it's working or not? And I would suggest that probably after the 2028 season that a firm look, okay, we've had these rules in for 2 years. We changed the field last year. How do we look? How do we feel? What is the data showing us?
Put the goalpost back. To put get the field back.
Oh. Pretty tough to put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Oh, I completely agree. Absolutely. Because to say something isn't going to work, but let's face it, you know what? Sometimes it takes a certain type of person to be able to take the chance and risk change being successful. Mm-hmm. And then it takes a different person to be accountable and say, you know what? Hey, that didn't work.
I like 5 years. I like 5. I think we need 5 years.
You got to have a good sample size, I think, because there's always going to be a year where there's a handful of anomalies that you've just got to throw out the top and the bottom, right, and then take the average in the middle. It's kind of the general rule of thumb. I don't think 2 years is long enough.
Okay, so Dave, in hour 3, we are going to play your interview that you had today with Darren Hackwood. Can you give us a tease on that?
Yeah, so Darren Hackwood is the vice president of officiating for the Canadian Football League, and he was kind enough to take some time because love him or hate him, officiating is part of the game. And in the Canadian Football League and Canadian football in general, officiating is probably in football the toughest sport, I would suggest, because the standards for rules can actually change in the middle of a play. So, for example, if there's a turnover, different rules apply when it comes to blocking and how you block and who you block and where you block. So, again, that's just in one play. So Darren Hackwood was kind enough to sit down and explain, here's what the rule changes actually mean. So here's when we're going to start the clock. Here's why we're going to start that 35-second clock. Here's what the rouge means and how it's going to look. And I think perhaps most fascinating of all is the one that I thought was really a non-rule change, but turns out to be kind of a pretty significant rule change at the end of the day, is where the player benches are going to be located. I thought it was just an opportunity to avoid the vuvuzelas or whatever they are in Montreal. But no, there's actually more to it.
Oh, wow. Okay, you got me intrigued here because, yeah, that's a rule that I was just like, whatever. Makes sense, but there's more to it. All right, looking forward to that. In hour 3, are you just go and snap a pic, send it to me, find somebody, and, make a friend.
Yeah, you want to see my black eye after the fact or what?
Yeah,
Dave, a stranger's just a friend you haven't met yet.
Excuse me, sir. Do you mind moving your garlic toast to the right so I can get a full side view of that steak?
Yeah.
All right, back at her time. And tomorrow, man, I'm really curious the next couple of days on what they do with this wind that's coming to Saskatchewan and how they, get a good look at or implement or get the playbook in, because it's going to be difficult.
Hey, they want this. They want the bad weather. They're okay with that. They being the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Me being the guy that loaned my rain jacket to my son and he took it back to Regina. Not looking forward to it as much.
What's the closest place? Isn't there that one of those liquidation places just up the road from Travelodge in the red zone there in Saskatoon? You can probably go buy a poncho.
Or a garbage bag.
Barney, you are not supposed – those aren't for sale, those blue bins. You're not supposed to take out. Only put in.
All right. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. There he is. Dave Thomas from the Red Zone Sports Bar in Saskatoon, right behind the Travelodge in our training camp reports. That was the blue bins. Yeah. When you're in a pinch. Dave Thomas talking officiating. Vice President officiating with the CFL today.
So pleased to be joined on the line by the Vice President of Officiating with the Canadian Football League, Mr. Darren Hackwood. Thank you so much for taking time for us, sir. And I guess, you know what, there's a lot of rule changes that are coming in this year, and it's an exciting time, but it can also be probably an interesting one for you in relaying the message and how the changes affect the gameplay to your officials. Wanted to run through some of them. Could you maybe first and foremost explain the 35-second play clock and how it's going to work?
Yeah, certainly. So it is a big adjustment for us, obviously, heading into the season. We've spent lots of time with our officials. We've met with each of the club coaching staffs as well this spring to kind of go through it. But essentially what we have is a 35-second automatic play clock. So when a play ends, we'll have a period of time to ensure the play is over. There'll be a signal from the officials on the field, and our clock operator will then start a 35-second automatic play clock. So there'll be, whether the pass is ruled incomplete or a ball carrier goes out of bounds or is down inbounds, the officials will signal kind of the end of the play, and then the 35-second play clock will begin.
But that does change in the final 3 minutes of both halves, correct?
Yes, exactly. So the final 3 minutes of both halves, we are timing just like we've done in the past. So we have that 20-second variable play clock, which is run by the officiating staff. So we have the play ends, the game clock stops, the officials look for substitutions, and then when everything's ready to go, they blow the play in. So that's, definitely the last 3 minutes will be just our 20-second play clock that we've used in the past.
During a game and in an official's eyes, I have commonly said a number of times that football is the hardest sport to officiate because the rules can change twice in a couple of different plays or within the same play. The objective is to get it right as often as we can. human error means we make mistakes. That's where the command center comes in. How do you see working with the command center when what you're aiming for a standard to be, and maybe even when you're requested to review plays? What does the command center overall mean to the football game and the Canadian Football League?
Sure. So we call it the replay center now. So it's a $5 fine, Dave. But anyways, we essentially we use that clear and obvious approach. We want to see something that has occurred on the field that if we've ruled incorrectly on the field, and it's clear that we've ruled it incorrectly on the field, that we're able to fix that through replay. However, there is a direction and I guess an impetus on us to manage game flow and to support game flow. So we want to do things quickly. We also don't want to impact the game if we don't have to. So I think one adjustment that you'll see this year is we're working towards fewer officiating huddles. Nobody likes it when the officials huddle, even the officials themselves. So hopefully with this 35-second automatic play clock, you're going to get less of that because the clock's moving. So the next snap is coming up and we need to move on. So hopefully we see a better performance with respect to game flow from an officiating perspective.
Darren Hackwood is the Vice President of Officiating for the CFL. I went back to the replay, and yes, that was a bad question. I'm actually going to find myself extra for not having the replay center down, so $10 instead. But
nice.
When it comes to the game, we all love it. We all want an outcome, and the overtime format is kind of changing. Can you explain the changes and how it works?
Yeah, certainly. So we talked about this at length in the Rules Committee process, but essentially we got rid of the tie game in the regular season. Nobody likes leaving the field tied in football, so we've gotten rid of it. So essentially, it's the same rules we've had in the past, where we will go to a mini game situation where teams scrimmage the ball from the 35-yard line. We'll play 2 of those mini games, and the rules there are if you score a touchdown, you have to go for a 2-point convert. But if we remain tied after playing 2 mini games, we'll now move to alternating 2-point convert attempts from the 3-yard line. So again, we'll do that until we have a winner. So that's the change for this year.
Maybe it's just a quick follow-up. Is there a coin toss at the start of overtime that determines who goes first? Is there multiple coin tosses?
Yeah, so we have one at the start of the overtime period. So a team can select whether they want to choose the end we play in or if they want to go on offense or defense first. And then it just rotates from team to team, that decision moving on in further periods of overtime.
The Rouge, so uniquely Canadian, it's got a bit of a change. If a kicked ball goes into the end zone or out of play, what happens?
Yeah, so this year, if you kick a ball directly out of bounds through the end zone, so whether that's a punt, kickoff, or a field goal attempt, there is no single point awarded, and the ball will next be scrimmaged from the 40-yard line. We still do have a single point or rouge when the ball goes dead in the end zone. So if you punt the ball into the end zone and it is fielded by the return team and the returner is tackled in the end zone, that would still be a single point. Or if the defense or returner touches the ball before it goes out of bounds in the end zone, that would still be a single point as well. But essentially that missed field goal that sails right out of the back of the end zone, there's no more points awarded for that.
My point of empathy towards official is going to become a little moot this year. When the gates go up and the benches were on the same sideline, I have no idea how you track that. I give you full credit. With the benches moving, there is going to be a focus on bench penalties. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, certainly. So we have different markings on the field at a CFL game, and one of them obviously is the sideline, which is the white stripe, and then behind that there's a restraining line as well, where team staff and players not actively on the play are supposed to be behind, and then our coaching staff is supposed to be off that white stripe, and that's mainly for the safety of our officials running up and down the sidelines. Over the years, we've kind of let the coaching staff infringe on that because we had teams on the same sideline. So, just to get a vantage point, be able to communicate with players. But now in every facility, our teams are on opposite sidelines. We're taking back that white stripe, so to speak. There's been some injuries primarily down south with some officials getting contacted, that sort of thing. So coaches are going to need to be off that white sideline to allow our officials to officiate safely on the field. So that's primarily what the point of emphasis is about this year.
Darren Hackwood, I appreciate your time. Again, grassroots officiating is very near and dear to my heart, seeing a lot of the development that happens there, but also the life skills that are coached through minor officiating and that whole pipeline that happens. So I know that it's one of those things when you're talking officiating that when I do good, no one remembers, and when I do bad, no one forgets. But I know that we're working towards getting rid of those unforgettable moments, if you will. I appreciate your time very greatly today.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dave.